بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my respected brothers and sisters. Welcome back to your show, Ask Eman, the show where it gives you the opportunity and the platform, inshallah, to pick up your phone and call us live here in the studio by calling us on 0203 515 0769. That's 0203 515 0769. And that's for you, inshallah, to ask us any question in regards to the deen, bi'idhnillah. And for those of you brothers and sisters who prefers to pick up their phone, to send us an email or WhatsApp, you can do so, inshallah, on the detail that you will see on the left-hand side of your screen, bi'idhnillah. And for those brothers and sisters who live overseas and want to take part on the live show, you can always use our WhatsApp number and call us live here and ask us your question, bi'idhnillah. I'll be your host for the next hour. Mahmoud Yusuf with me, have my beloved Shaykh, Wasim Kempson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hayakum Allah, Shaykh, and how are you?
I'm very well, barakallahu feek.
As usual, inshallah, Shaykh, we'd like to start our show with a quick reminder. If you can bless us with that, inshallah, so we can get all our questions ready for you.
Allahi barik feek. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. All praise belongs to Allah. And may the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon his final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters and viewers at home. So just today I was speaking with a very close and beloved brother to me. He's in Al-Madinah at the moment, and we're having a very, very interesting discussion. And he was asking some advice and about the different methods or ways of giving da'wah. And what made, of course, our dear beloved Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam successful, from the reasons that he was successful in his da'wah, calling people to Islam, is that he came with the haqq, that he came with the truth. And truth will always supersede falsehood. On top of that, and there are many reasons to go with this, is that the Prophet ﷺ was hakim, was very wise in giving da'wah. That he ﷺ was able to give da'wah, to deliver the message in the very best and most correct way, so that the listener, or the one who's on the other end of the message, listening to that message, that person's heart will be open. Now, when we implement this in the modern day, we understand that there are many different ways that we will call people to al-Islam. There isn't one way of giving da'wah. We have to understand this. The message essentially is the same. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that no messenger was sent except that they taught their people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everything has to return to that. This is, of course, there's no doubt about this. But when we look at the state of, or the situation of many of the Muslims, it is fair to say, and we have to be honest with ourselves, it is fair to say that the majority of Muslims, with regards to their Islam, they may come under the bracket of maybe really not practicing so much, or Islam is something that is there in the background for them. Okay? Now, this is not damning them to anything. This is just a stark reality. Okay? This being the case, because there are other people who are students of knowledge, there are other people who are a little more serious in their Islam. That's fine. So we understand that with regards to Islam, the lives of people are at different stages. But you can say maybe the vast majority of people take things a little easy.
Sure.
All right? So therefore, the message that we want to give to people, how you deliver or you educate Muslims, has to be done in a different way. So these people who are kind of taking things a little bit easy, the approach where we have to sit them down and start with Sahih Bukhari. Okay? إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. This is the first hadith and we need to go into this. And we've got another 7,000 hadith to go through before we complete Sahih Bukhari. This is not for them.
Sure.
Okay, they're going to run away from you. They're not going to accept it. It's too much for them.
Agree.
Or, for example, we need to sit down with Tafsir ibn Kathir. We're going to start with Surah Al-Fatiha. It might take 2, 3, 5, 10 years to go to all the Surah Al-Nas. Those people aren't going to understand that. It's too much for them. Maybe you start with some short surahs from Juz Amma.
No.
My point is that where does this precedent come from in delivering the message in different ways? The Prophet ﷺ sent who to Al-Madinah to teach these people Al-Islam. Who did the Prophet ﷺ send to Al-Yemen? Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Musa ibn Umar was sent to Al-Madinah. Now, Abu Bakr was there. Subhanallah, the great companion, radiallahu anhu. But he was not sent to these two places. These other two companions were sent there for specific reasons.
Sure.
Due to the knowledge set that they have, their delivery, many reasons, the hikmah, the wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given them. So they were the most appropriate for that particular job. Now, when giving da'wah to Muslims and talking to Muslims about Islam, it is important that we talk to Muslims on their level. You know your audience, you know your people, and you deliver the message in a way that they can accept it, and it is something which they feel part of.
Sure.
Okay? So, for example, you may find an approach that everybody has to associate themselves with a particular shaykh, with a particular methodology, and if you don't do that, then your situation, we don't know what you're calling to. Well, if the brother, if the da'iyah, the student of knowledge, or the shaykh is saying, Allah says, and the messenger says, alayhi salatu salam, that is enough validation for me.
Sure.
If that individual is stating Allah says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the Quran, and quoting sound hadith of the Prophet alayhi salam, and backing it up with sound statements of well-known ulama of the past, that's sufficient for me.
Sure.
It's not a person has to validate or attach themselves to a modern day shaykh by name, that yes, I follow that shaykh. It is sufficient that, subhanAllah, that individual is calling people to Islam upon the correct methodology of al-Islam, based upon the Quran and the Sunnah and the understanding of the great ulama who came through the ages. Okay? And these people who give da'wah to people, alhamdulillah, very successful in their da'wah. MashaAllah, have many followers and many people will attend their lectures. They're doing something right, inshallah ta'ala. So this is something I wanted to mention, and to understand that there are people at different stages of their Islam, and that we must learn to try and deliver Islam in the way which is digestible for them. And this is something that we follow in the way of the Prophet ﷺ in choosing certain companions for certain jobs, and so on, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair for that beautiful reminder. Inshallah, we're going to start our show with the first question that we have over the phone. Let's take this caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Eman. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Brother, can you hear me?
Assalam.
Right, I think because you're calling up from overseas, it's probably going to be a delay. But by the time we speak, inshallah, you probably get it a few seconds late. So go ahead. What's your question for us, inshallah?
My question to, first of all, Shaykh Wasim Kempson. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, barakallahu feek, ya akhi. May Allah bless you.
Jazakallah khair. My question to you is that about anger management. Like, how can a person control his anger? Like, for example, it comes so fast. So how can a person control his anger towards his family, towards, relatives and people? How can he control it?
Okay, inshallah. So it's a very good question. How do we control anger? Now, the famous hadith that is mentioned, where the Prophet ﷺ responded to a companion when he was asked, give me advice. And the Messenger ﷺ said to him, La taghdab, don't become angry. Now, there's a misunderstanding, a misconception regarding this particular hadith. It doesn't necessarily mean that don't become angry, meaning that something happens and you're able to control your feelings, that you don't become angry, because it's a natural feeling at times, okay, that a person may become angry, okay. But we find in other narrations that the Prophet ﷺ said that if one of you becomes angry, then let them make wudu, for example. Or for example, if a person is standing, let them sit down. So this is not a clash of narrations where in one narration the Prophet said don't become angry, and then another narration the Prophet gave us solutions that when you do become angry, these are the things that you're supposed to do to help you control it. So what do we understand? That anger is something that may happen to any one of us for a number of reasons.
Sure.
But the most important thing is that if a person does have the urge to become angry because of something, that don't allow that anger to be the controller of your feelings and your emotions to the extent that you lose control. This is the point, okay? So that the Prophet, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us in terms of the advice about being calm upon the earth, that the ibad al-Rahman, the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they walk upon the earth hawna, calmly, humbly, okay? But sometimes you may become angry. But if you do become angry, try to contain your anger, that it doesn't then end up you regretting the situation. That the strong person is not the person who has all the muscles. But the strong person is that when they become angry and they become upset, that they're able to control their emotions. And this is something which at times will need training. You need to train yourself. You need to practice, because there are people who may become anger comes to them quicker than others.
Sure.
Okay, but this is something you need to work on, inshallah ta'ala. So make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah Azza wa Jalla allows you to somehow control your emotions, in that, not that you don't have them, to suppress them, that you don't have them. You have these feelings, but you don't allow them to control your actions or your statements, and then later on you regret what you say. So look at the advice of the Prophet, so make wudu. This can help you. If you're standing, sit down, okay? Try to change your position, to move away from the situation. Try to understand always the other person's opinion and things like this, and then this will help, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykh, and I hope that answers your question for you, brother. Brothers and sisters, please remember, if you do have any questions, we're going to go for a quick ad break, inshallah. So do follow us, inshallah, on social media. We're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, inshallah. For me and the Shaykh for now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected brothers and sisters, welcome back to your show, Ask Eman. Inshallah, brothers and sisters, this is our second segment, inshallah. So if you do have any questions, this is an opportunity for you to pick up your phone and call us live in our studio by calling us on 0203 5150769. That's 0203 5150769. And for those of you brothers and sisters who prefer to send us some email or WhatsApp, inshallah, the details that you need to know, inshallah, is on the left-hand side of your screen. And for those of you brothers and sisters who prefer to watch us on social media, we're live streaming on YouTube and Facebook, inshallah. So if you do have any question, inshallah, you drop it down below. We get it live here, bi'idhnillah. So, Shaykh, we're going to start with our first question via WhatsApp, which starts with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. What is the Islamic ruling on a woman wearing perfume when going out to work? Shukran.
طيب, so the woman is discouraged from wearing perfume when leaving the house. In Islamic terms, when she goes to work and things like that, she's discouraged from wearing perfume. If, however, she's going to a munasaba or some form of event where there's women only and things like that, then labats. If she wanted to wear perfume, she goes to her car, whatever, or however she's getting there, and then she's at that particular event, then not a problem. Otherwise, she's discouraged from wearing perfume, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykh. Next question we
Sorry,
have.
if I just may add something to that.
Go ahead.
Jazakallah khair. I don't want to go to extremes. Doesn't mean she wear deodorants and things like that. I mean, it's important for us as Muslims. Purity is very important. So after bathing or showering or something like that, and there's like a deodorant that you would usually wear or something like that, then that's not a problem. But the idea is, okay, wear a deodorant, so I'm going to wear those really potent deodorants, so that almost covers me wearing a perfume outside. Okay, so it's what I'm very clear. What I'm saying is that when going inside, from wearing perfume to attracting and things like that, then that's something which is discouraged. But general cleanliness and things like that, and you wearing or using the appropriate products for that, then of course, we're not saying not to. It's highly encouraged to do so.
So, Shaykh, would you encourage or discourage people of buying perfumes as a gift for females?
No, not at all. Because perfume is, the Prophet ﷺ used to love perfume. Perfume can, it helps the mood. Even in your home, maybe you're burning some what do they call them? Some bukhur or some sticks or some candles, or you have some, burning some oils. Nice smells is a nice thing to do.
Sure.
Okay. But the point is that wearing perfume outside is something which we have Islamic guidance on. Okay. Yeah. The person may say, why this, why that? This is Islamic. What I'm saying to you is not from our heads.
Yes.
Is not the decision that 5 or 6 old men made in a room who have beards and they got the books and say no, women can't do this and the men can't. They can do this. I'm only giving you an answer what Islam says.
Right.
Okay. These are the guidance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, and through the authentic sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So yeah, the gifting a woman perfume.
Yeah. So you're not sinful or sharing the sin with this person actually putting it on when
No, because when I wear perfume in home, you go home, I go home, you go in your car, you put some perfume on yourself, not necessarily to go outside, but you're doing it in your own home, that's not a problem. Okay?
Right.
Or you go to a suitable place for you to wear that, then that's not a problem. Okay, so...
but in this situation, knowing that, for example...
Well, you don't know what they're going to do, because they may use it for good, they may use it for bad, but the point is that it's a permissible product in of itself. You're buying a haram product for them, and of course they can use it for haram, but you're using a permissible thing, and they may use it for permissible things, then there's not a problem, inshallah.
طيب, barakallahu feek, Shaykh. And the next question we have, WhatsApp again, it starts with Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. I wanted to ask you this question. If I try to stop wind during the prayer, does this nullify my wudu and invalidate my prayers?
Okay. So there may be an occasion where this happens, where you have the urge to break wind, and you suppress and stop yourself from breaking wind. So, number one, this does not nullify your wudu or your prayer. So you would continue praying, and you finish your prayer, and your prayer is valid. This is something beyond your control. Okay, it can happen. We're not even going to say this. It's diminishing the reward of your prayer. Human beings, this can happen. So there's not a problem in that, inshallah ta'ala. The only time we'd say it invalidates your prayers, of course, if you passed wind, that would nullify your wudu, and then in turn nullify the prayer, and you would have to make wudu again and start your prayer again, and Allah knows best.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykhana. Next question we have. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And this is in regards to performing wudu for males. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Shaykh Wasim. Is it okay for me to perform my wudu as normal as from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Because I've heard a different opinion that says when you're washing the face, that you need to make sure that you put enough water to go between your beards. Now, how authentic is this?
Okay. So when making wudu, if we're talking, the wudu is the same wudu for every single person on earth is a Muslim. The wudu is the wudu. It's not two different wudu's. Okay, it's one wudu that was taught to us by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there are many narrations concerning that. One of the most famous narrations is the hadith of, or the description of Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu, that described the wudu of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. As specifically as you have mentioned concerning the beard, then the ulama have mentioned two things. Either the beard is a full beard, you don't necessarily see the skin underneath the person's face, or that the beard is thinner that you can see the skin under the face. There are two general situations. So with regards to a longer beard, something like this for example, okay, then it is when you're washing your face, then the outside of the beard is required to be wiped over, okay? Right. Not just a wet hand. You have to ensure there's some water in your hand, because you have to be required to wash your face. So a little bit of water in your hand, and then it goes over your face. That's at least some water rolls over your face, and then you use your hands to wash the outside of your face. Okay, what you see here. As for the beard, so if you have a beard like this, it is sunnah, as is mentioned by Uthman radiyallahu anhu, to place your fingers through the beard, and that is sufficient. It's not for you to get your finger, okay, and wipe every single bit of your skin underneath. That's not required from you. As long as you wiped over the beard, okay, and then you put your fingers through it, that is sufficient. As for a person who has a thin beard, you can see the skin underneath, then they would just wipe their faces as usual, ensuring that the water would reach all parts of the face. And Allah knows best.
Because I've seen people in the wudu area, Shaykh, where they actually put physically so much water and they rub it to make sure the water goes into the skin. Because I've heard this opinion where they say the water has to touch your skin where your beard is actually it.
So in a situation where a person has a beard like, thicker beard like you or thicker beard like mine, it is sufficient for you to wipe over the top of it and then to place your fingers through like this. That is sufficient for you to do, and not to get water and start rubbing into your face like this and this. That's not required from you if you have a thick beard. Sure. Okay. It is as I described, and Allah knows best.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykh. Next question we have similar to wiping over your face here. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Is it bid'ah to wipe your face with your hands after making dua?
Okay. So with regards to from the adab of making dua, it is mentioned in some narrations that the Prophet ﷺ would wipe over his face after completing dua, and another narration maybe wipe his body. There's approximately, there are different turuq or different, but most of it goes to about 7 or 8 narrations concerning this. Now, we will not say it is a bid'ah, because there are some of the muhaddithun of the past who actually raised some of the narration, or one of the narrations, to the level of being hasan. So we can't say it's a bid'ah, okay? It may be, if a person has the view that all the narrations on the wiping of the face after dua are weak, okay, which many of the hadith scholars have said. From them, Bakr Abu Zayd rahimahullah ta'ala has said that there are many narrations concerning this, and that all of them are weak. So it's not authentic that the Prophet ﷺ used to do that.
Right.
Okay, it's not authentic. But we can't say it's bid'ah.
Sure.
Because there are some ulama, for example, who did state that maybe some of the narrations could be hasan. Okay. Sure. So if a person believes that it is not authentic, then the person simply won't do it. But if a person is doing that, believing and knowing that is, if it is the case, is based upon a sound hadith or hasan hadith, then they have their evidence. Sure. Okay, it's not for us to say this is bid'ah, and because if we know every bid'ah is a misguidance, and every misguidance is in fire. Sure. So it's a very, very big word to say. Okay. So this is in short, we'll not say it's bid'ah, and Allah knows best. However, what seems to be more correct, and Allah knows best, is that there isn't a sound hadith concerning that. Sure. So we would say it's not from the adab to do that after completing dua. Wallahu alam.
Barakallahu feek. Shaykhana, Brother Rayyan, you're on the phone, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Eman.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Brother Rayyan, just to let you know, inshallah, we have literally a minute. So if you have any question, please remember, we've got a minute to go for, inshallah. Go ahead.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Just a question based on the context of free mixing, Muslim women free mixing within the UK society, particular working. And I know there's different conditions, but the condition that I'm referring to is that women who choose to work but don't have to work. And what is the ruling on this? And are they exhibiting traits of feminism? That's my question, Sheikh. What is the ruling of women who don't have to work but choose to work because they want to follow the worldly desires of accumulating?
Barakallahu feek, Brother Rayyan. The question is very clear, inshallah, but we'll be able to answer it after the ad break, inshallah. So, Brother Rayyan, Barakallahu feek for calling and asking us the question. So, we had to rush you to get it through, inshallah. So, brothers and sisters, join us after the ad break where the Shaykh will be able to answer the question that Brother Rayyan was asking us. Join us after the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My respected brothers and sisters, welcome back to your show Ask Eman. Shaykhna, before the ad break, our brother Rayyan, I believe, he was asking us in regards to free mixing, especially in a case where a woman does not need to go to work. Now he wants to know your opinion. We're not talking about Islamic, generally speaking here. Obviously, every relationship or every household, they've got their own problem, but none of us do know. So when he says that she does not need to go to work, maybe this is from his angle, or from other people's angle, it could be maybe we need to. But go ahead. But what's your
okay? It's طيب. Bismillah. So with regards to answering these questions, it's important for us to understand a couple of principles or a couple of rulings concerning work. Number one, that Islam does not prohibit a woman from working, and it is not based upon a need necessarily. That's number one. Number two is that we need to understand or define what is meant by free mixing. In Arabic, it's called al-ikhtilat, which kind of means mixing, if you want to take it literally. But then it comes into English, and then they add the word free, which is free mixing, which is not the Arabic word actually. Al-ikhtilat al-hurriya, if you want to call it like this.
Yeah.
Mixing of the free or the free. I mean, so there is a bit of a jump there when you put it into English and how you're going to apply that. So it's important for us to define actually what is meant by that. Okay, so number one, there's no prohibition for a woman to go outside and if she wishes to work. Number one. And number two, to define what we mean by free mixing and understanding the environment and the city and the place that we live in. And not necessarily everything will fall into methodologies or ideologies which aren't necessarily Islamic. They may be completely un-Islamic, but the fact that a woman or a man may do something doesn't necessarily mean that they are following that particular ideology. So if a sister works, okay, and the manner of the work is a halal job, okay, and she is a person who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like her brother, they want to find a job, they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they want to do that job, and when they go to that the place of work, that they are following their Islamic guidance concerning that. They fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as they can. They will not waste their time at work. They will do their job and they will go home. Then there's nothing stopping them from doing that. Okay. There are times where people who are studying and have responsibilities at home, as you quite rightly mentioned, and that it may not be necessarily a great need, but for them to work, maybe which may help them and may help their family. Okay, so there may be, some need as it may be understood, and then you have to define what's a need. Is it necessary for them to, or is it not necessary for them to? Maybe it's all subjective. For this reason, we're saying at the beginning that it's not haram. If they, like for a brother or sister to work in a halal environment, for them to do their job diligently, to do it properly, not getting involved in things which are contrary to their work, which is, of course, they have to conduct their work and fulfill their responsibilities at work first and foremost. And also that they interact with people in an Islamic way, okay? Then I don't see too much of a problem, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best. Obviously, there are other maybe issues that could be mentioned to further discussion, but in short, this answer, and I hope it answers the brother's question, and Allah is best.
Barakallahu feek. Shaykh, we have another question here, but before we do, inshallah, I just would like to let our brothers and sisters know that, like I said earlier on, before we ask you the question, that any question that we get like that, especially if it's specific regards to your case, that we wouldn't be able to answer that question. But as the Shaykh rightly mentioned, whenever we give the answer itself is a general answer that will actually maybe cover majority of the family, bi-idhnillah. But Shaykh, we've got another question here, which we don't want to just go specific about it, but it's in regards to organ donation. Islamically, because I don't want to go specifically for that question here, because this question covers majority of what you're about to answer anyways. Now, when it comes to organ donation, what does Islam allows us to do, and what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expect from us?
Right, so the issue of organ donation can be categorized into two. There's the organ donation when one is alive, and there's organ donation after death. There are many research papers written on this and opinions of the scholars. It is not a black and white issue. Okay, there are varied opinions on that, and some conditions attached to that, and maybe this platform isn't really the platform to go in any great detail concerning the issue. However, when a person is alive, the vast majority of ulama have said that it is permissible for a person to donate an organ if that organ that they have is not something that your life depends on. Okay, so you can't, for example, donate your heart because you'll die. But donating, for example, one of your kidneys, this is something permissible, inshallah ta'ala, as long as you're not selling it.
Sure.
You can't sell, okay, what you don't own. Everything belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
So donating blood, for example, is permissible. Okay, your life doesn't depend on, that amount of blood that you give. Your body can, make it up afterwards. After a person passes away, this is a big issue now because the law may be changing here in England, that the default position is that your organs will be up for donation unless you opt out of it. It's not happened yet. Okay, contrary to the many messages you may have found, quickly you need to opt out, they're going to take your body parts without you asking. This is not law at the moment, by the way, okay? And we have some very, very well-educated scholars who have a big impact, actually, on these issues from a Muslim perspective, and they're involved with the NHS and some of the law makers, if you like, concerning this issue, alhamdulillah. So as Muslims, and some of the scholars are involved in that, we're not aware of it and what's going on, what's happening, and suddenly that something's being posted through your letterbox and saying that's it, after you're dead, but your body is ours and we're going to distribute it how we like. This is not the case at all. Okay, getting back to the question, that there are a lot of the ulama have the view that it is allowed for you to donate your organs after you pass away, and this is inshallah ta'ala something you can be rewarded for. There is another opinion to say that you're not permitted, and each party has their evidences to support that. But the discussion is going on, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make it easy for us all, and maybe to further discussion, maybe to maybe get in contact with some of these scholars, inshallah ta'ala, to look at some of the great research that's been done on it, and Allah is best.
طب بارك الله فيك شيخ. طب next question we have here starts with Assalamu alaikum, another question via WhatsApp. Can a female family member live abroad? No, sorry, I misread it. It says, can a family member travel abroad without a mahram, as no one is free to accompany her or the family itself? So if it's a female, a group of female, or one female, there's nobody to actually be able to go with them, what can happen?
All right.
Or what's Islamic rules?
Great. So the issue of a woman traveling alone is a topic which has been greatly discussed in the modern time, because the modes or the ways of traveling have changed drastically. There was once upon a time that for you to travel to another country or to another land may take weeks or months, and then there are those people of now, if you like, to say that the statements of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there are many statements which talk about la yahillu, okay, and la yahillu is a strong word. That the Prophet said la yahillu, it is not permitted, not allowed for a woman tu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir, a woman who believes in Allah and the last day, and tusafir masirata yawmin wa layla biduni mahram illa ma'adhi mahram. There's not allowed for a woman to travel the distance of a day and a night except that she should be with a mahram. These are the statements of the Prophet ﷺ. So a person looks at context and says that this was said in a time where people, if they were traveling, they would travel weeks or months at a time. We can understand the narrations in that mode. So therefore she should have traveled with a mahram. Nowadays we're traveling and we can travel on the other. You can be in Australia, for example. Sure. From here in the UK, you can get on a plane, you can be there in about 22 hours.
Agree.
So that's less than a day and a night. So therefore, all these ahadith that we find in Bukhari and Muslim, you can just get them and take them out, because they have no longer no meaning.
Right.
Okay, this part of the sunnah doesn't mean anything anymore.
Sure.
Because we now live in a time as though these things have been abrogated.
Right.
They've been nullified. These rulings are no longer applicable in the modern day, for example. Or we give contextual application to these ahadith, this is not something known
Right.
amongst the ulama of the past. And for a person who then wants to contextualize the narration or the sunnah, depending on time, that they were applicable at that time but no longer applicable, is a very dangerous approach.
Sure.
It's a very dangerous approach. And a person who bases these particular ahadith, the woman shouldn't travel without mahram. I know the question very simple. Is it allowed? I should say yes or no.
Yeah, but no.
Okay, but if I say yes and I say no, then if I say no, well, why? Why no?
Yes.
And if I yes,
why yes?
and if I insist, they're not going to say why yes.
Okay.
They don't ask. If I say yes, it's yes. Okay, thank you, jazakallah khair. But if you say no, well, why no? You want an
Right.
explanation, all right? So this big explanation, you know why I'm going to say at the end.
Right.
I'm going to say no. That's why it's a long explanation, okay? Because it's based on, it's not my opinion.
Right.
These are the clear ahadith, okay?
Sure.
So therefore, we need to have principled approaches in understanding the sunnah. Otherwise, you may fall into cancelling, abrogating sunnah, which you have no right to do, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykh, and brothers and sisters, as usual, inshallah. Please remember to join us after that break, inshallah. For me and the Shaykh for now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My respected brothers and sisters, welcome back to your show, Ask Eman. Brothers and sisters, I'd like to remind you this will be the last segment. So if you do have any question, you have at least 11 minutes, inshallah, to pick up your phone and call us live here in the studio by calling us on 0203 51507 69. That's 0203 51507 69. Brothers, do we have any callers? Right, let's start with the callers, inshallah, Shaykhana. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Ask Eman. Right, I think we've lost the brothers and sisters. Please remember to pick up your phone and call us, inshallah. Do forgive us for taking a bit longer than we should, but we did have the last segment that we tried to squeeze as much questions as we can. So, inshallah, if you do have any question, please remember to pick up your phone and call us live here, bi'idhnillah. Type. Shaykhana, we have a question here, inshallah. This is in regards to IVF. Now, this question might be a bit, I'm going to be very, very careful on how we ask this question. A sister is asking, she wants to get pregnant without committing any fornication, no adultery, because she has always wanted a child and she thinks that's the only way she can actually have it. Now, she wants to know, the person that's also asking this question, could this be a sin or is it a major sin?
Okay. So the sister is right in mentioning that zina is haram, fornication haram, adultery haram. So is there a way around it? I want a child without getting married. So is it possible for me to have IVF treatment where the sperm of a man is put into the dish, the egg is taken from the woman and the sperm is taken from the man? They start the process of a baby, and then it starts, and then if it is successful, then they put it into the womb of the woman, and the baby grows, and the fetus grows. Is this permissible? This is not permissible, because the sperm of a man, of that is only who is your husband, is allowed to be used for you to have a child. And it is not allowed for you to use the sperm of a man whom, number one, you don't know who they are. Are they Muslim, non-Muslim? You don't know this. So therefore, it is haram. It is not permissible for you to take the sperm of another man and for you to have a child, if successful, through IVF treatment. With regards to IVF treatment, is it permissible? It is permissible with certain conditions. If, number one, it is husband and wife, man and woman, and as long as certain conditions are adhered to. If after a period of time that they're unable to have children or some difficulties concerning that, and they go to trusted people, okay, then some of the ulama have permitted that. As for the solution that the sister mentioned, unfortunately, it is not allowed. And if sister really wants to have a child, then getting married is a solution, inshallah ta'ala, okay? If you don't want to fall into zina, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from that, Allahumma ameen. But in marriage, there is great reward in having partnership with your husband, and the input of both the mother and the father with the child is extremely important. Okay, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you and guide us all to that what is best. Allahumma ameen.
Ameen. Barakallahu feek, Shaykhana. We have another caller, Brother Tariq. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam, Shaykh.
You are live and Ask Eman, brother. What's your question for us today, inshallah?
Yes, Shaykh. Regarding the permissibility of mortgages, it's within UK society. It's I believe my limited understanding that it's haram, and but with the Muslims in the UK, what do we do? Because we can't go against Allah's ruling, but unfortunately, I see most of the societies within our community, most of the people within our community are on riba. So I'm just wondering, what is the general permissibility? What do the scholars say? And is it truly, is it permissible? And if it's not permissible, then what do the Muslims do then in order to get onto the property ladder within the UK?
Khair. Barakallahu feek. I mean, this is a question that none of us as Muslim will ever get tired of asking.
Yeah.
Now, there's no black and white on this, Shaykhana, because it seemed to be an issue.
No.
that no matter where you go, people always have an opinion whether yes is permissible or no is not permissible.
No.
Some sheikh said this, some sheikh says that. What is the general ruling on this?
Sure, okay, I understand. So with regards to taking out a mortgage loan, here in the UK, there are different ways of doing that. With, if you look at the general high street bank, which has a clear riba interest agreement with that, and riba, we know as Muslims, is haram. It's not allowed for us to do that. Now, there are, you also have to give context to the situation. What is the fascination? More than that, it's not really fair to say fascination. What is the importance of owning your own home, your own property? In many Muslim lands, the issue of renting is not something which is that common. Many people own their homes. The status quo is that people own their homes.
No.
You don't rent something.
Sure.
You go out and you work a little while and then you own your own home.
Yeah.
So then when you come to a country where not necessarily everybody owns their own home, renting is a big part of the market, that Muslims will, they will grow up in a society, they may be born here. It's not necessarily,
Sure.
Back home this is what we do. I mean, you may be born and bred here, no problem. But owning your own home is a very important part of what you see as your future. First and foremost, I cannot make halal what Allah Azza wa Jalla made haram. Riba is haram. Are there certain circumstances where the haram can become halal? And a common example is given that if you're in the middle of a desert, okay, and that you have no food and you have no drink, okay, and you come across some pork, if you can find pork in the middle of the desert, by the way, or something like that. Okay, they'll suddenly see pigs running out in the middle of the desert. But let's give that example, right?
Right.
You're in the middle of nowhere, not necessarily the desert, you're in the middle of
Sure.
nowhere. There's no food and drink that's halal for you. You can consume what is sufficient to keep yourself alive. Okay? الضروريات تبيح المحظورات, which is a well-known principle, that the necessity or the dire necessity of the situation can make permissible that what is made haram.
Right.
And there's another principle connected to that المحظورات تقدر بقدرها, that what is made haram is adjusted to only what is needed.
Sure.
Doesn't mean you can just have a big munch on it and just fill your stomach and
Right.
No, you do what is necessary. So there are certain exceptions where there may be some changings in the rulings.
Right.
Now, taking out a ribawi mortgage, is the situation dire enough that we make an exception to permit riba because of the situation? There are absolutely no other options. I'm of the view, and many of the ulama, to say no. There are other options. Yes, it may be not the ideal situation, but there are options where you can rent.
Right.
There's no riba involved in that. And alhamdulillah, as far as I know, there are some movements now within the Muslim community to set up halal kind of programs or situations where the loans can be given in a shari'i and an Islamic correct manner.
Sure.
Okay, so what I would say is that if a person is looking to do something like that, is to do some more research and to go to trusted ulama. Okay, and fatwa, like, you can take it out for your own home.
Right.
Okay, if it's your first home and it's yours, you can do it. But for another one after that, you can't.
Yeah.
I don't personally agree with that fatwa.
Yeah, I've heard
Okay,
that one as well.
and Allah knows best. And I can't take the responsibility on Yawm al-Qiyamah to say that in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed people to take a riba.
Right.
I can't take the responsibility. And I'm of the view of the ulama, because I'm not mujtahid in this issue. I have to follow the great, well-known and grounded ulama in this issue, and I'm of the view, and I follow them, to say that it is not allowed for you to take that out. But there are there's some future where the Muslims are making the situation inshallah easier,
Inshallah.
and where Muslims can come together. But anything to do with riba, I say, is not permissible.
I agree.
I apologize for the brevity of my answer, but answering something like this is very wide, and it needs explaining in detail. But Allah knows best.
طيب خير إن شاء الله. بارك الله فيك شيخنا. We have one more caller إن شاء الله. السلام عليكم. Welcome to Ask Eman, sister.
Alaikum salam. So I was wondering if it's halal to dye your hair purple or any other colour.
Is it haram to dye your hair purple?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Do you have any other question?
No, thank you.
بارك الله فيك. طيب شيخنا, are you allowed to dye your hair purple or any other color?
طيب. So with regards to dyeing the hair, then the dyeing your hair black is something which is, there's some difference of opinion, but it's not allowed for you to dye your hair black. But other colors, it's up to you really what you want to dye your hair, inshallah ta'ala. If it is you're dyeing your hair a color which is known that unethical, kind of is known for, bad, people have bad morals and things like bad ethics, and you're putting your hair like them, obviously you should avoid that.
Sure.
You don't want to be associated with such individuals. Purple has different shades. It could be like a dark kind of mauve burgundy color. No, but it can have that. If you're talking about bright purple, once upon a time, this is what clowns used to wear. If we're talking about bright purple hair, then I go, this is a subjective issue. Maybe you like it. Allahu alam. But don't dye it black. It's not allowed. And if your hair, the hair colors are known to be from immoral people, you're not allowed to do that. And may Allah guide us to that what is best. Ameen.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykhana. May Allah reward you for being here and every step taken to be here with us today. Jazakallah khair, Shaykhana. Brothers and sisters, join us, inshallah, tomorrow for more Ask Eman from me and the Shaykh, inshallah. For now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.